It's really about freedom business blueprints and how you can work less and earn more. Now we're going to do 5 steps today. We're going to talk about starting with the end. We're going to talk about how niche equals rich, how you need to be a sharp shooter to work less and earn more. Modeling, the importance of modeling. Um, you can call it copying, but modeling is kind of a better word for that. Understanding blueprints. So at the end, we're really going to go into looking at blueprints, and we're also going to look at one of your blueprints today. So beginning with the end. This is, I'm not sure if you've read the book, but Stephen Covey always talks about, he's dead now actually. He always talked about beginning with the end. And it's really important. And we're just going to spend a little bit of time here talking about the end, because I think it's important in a way that it gives us clarity on what we really want to spend our life doing. And that's part of the importance of delegating and leveraging other people's time is so that you have more time to do what you want to do, or get involved in the tasks that you really want to do, so you can add more value in that kind of way. Now, I have a friend, and just after I got started in business, we were out on the fjord in Oslo. We were water skiing, and he was very lucky because he actually inherited about $20 million when he was 18 from his parents, and he had this fancy this boat where we used to take out and go water skiing. And that one day we were on our way back to his house, and I just gotten started as an entrepreneur, and I was, very, very money hungry. Was very keen on making millions and millions of dollars very, very fast. And he obviously already was rich, so he had what I wanted. So that's why I asked him, isn't it great having all this money? Isn't it great being able to live the lifestyle that you have? And it was one of those moments where you should listen. And I listened, but I didn't listen, if that makes sense. And he just turned to me and said that my things, they own me, because he had the boats and the cars and the houses and all those things. And that's really stuck with me. That really stuck with me, and that was before I read the 4 Hour Work Week and really really adapted to that kind of philosophy. And I think about that sometimes. And when I bought my Porsche and sort of started making good amounts of money, I sort of realized that, oh yeah, it wasn't what I thought it would be. And if you've read um, parts of my parts of my book, then you'll see that story, the story of not really getting the experience that I thought it would be. And so I want to ask you, what are you chasing and for what reasons? Um, why do you need all the things that you have on your achievement list? Is that what's truly going to make you happy? Or are you trying to please, are you trying to look good in front of certain people? Is that part of why you want to do certain things? And getting clear on this is important. And an exercise that we do at the Work Less, Earn More bootcamp is that we do an exercise which is called the funeral, where we actually hold our own funeral, because that helps us give clarity to what we really want to spend our life doing. Now, I'm not sure if you remember this, but in the 4 Hour Work Week, and something that also has stuck with me for a long time, is the fisherman story, the fisherman and the millionaire. So the story goes that the CEO of a company, he gets put on medical leave by his doctor, and so he goes to Mexico. He finds this little fishing village, and he gets woken up in the middle of the night on his first day in this resort. And he wakes up, goes down to the pier, and there's a fisherman, and he starts talking to him and says, that's some great fish you got there, really nice tuna. And the Mexican looks up at him and says, "Yes, yes, nice tuna." And the CEO goes, "Oh, how long did it take you to fish it?" And the Mexican goes, "Oh, not too long, sir, not too long." And and the the CEO the CEO goes, "Oh, so why don't you fish more?" And the Mexican goes, "Oh, because then I have time to spend time with my family, go fishing, play guitar, etc." So he has time to spend with on the things that he really enjoys in life. And just to fast forward to the end, the CEO kind of encourages him to build up his empire, and then he ends up saying that, oh yeah, because then you can spend your time doing the things that you really want to be doing. So the whole point of that story is to make us realize that we're chasing after all these things, but they're actually very accessible to us right now. So the question goes more like, what is your number? Okay, so um, in Wall Street 2, maybe you've seen the movie. Maybe you've definitely seen the first one. What a great movie, right? Um, but there's this scene there between Bretton James, who's like the Wolf of Wall Street, and the protege, and they've spent the whole day bonding, driving fast cars and motorcycles and doing all sorts of glamorous things. And um, at the end of the day, the protege on the left here, he asks Bretton James, what is your number? I find that everybody has a number. Now, what is your number? And Bretton James says more. He says, I just want more. And a part of you is always going to want more. A part of you is always going to want more, and that's sort of the ego-driven side of you. And it's just important that we establish what your number is, because a lot of your freedom lies in establishing your number. Now, I mentioned this in the webinar that my companies actually make a lot more money than I take out, but I'm happy. I'm very happy with 20,000, and I can live the kind of lifestyle that I want with that amount of money. And when the companies make more money, I just invest it back into the company because I know long term that's gonna feed back to me. Um, just one more reminder here. There's a book called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, and in The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur, the author, I can't remember his name right now, but the author mentions Sam Walton. And the true fact of his life is that, yeah, he became one of the richest people in the world. But on his deathbed, when he was dying and he was surrounded by his family, he actually said, I blew it. So one of the richest people in the world said, I blew it at his very end, because that's when he realized that what he really wanted to do was to spend time with his family, go hunting, and do the kind of things that, work is part of your life and it's always going to be part of it. But, you know, if you make it the only thing in your life, then you might up ending your life saying you blew it. And that's why I mentioned Ivan Illich in the webinar. And so one of the things we're going to work on with you is finding your number, calculating out the things that you really want to do in your life, and then finding the quickest and fastest way for you to actually start crossing those things off on your bucket list. And that's part of getting clear. Um, I think Tony Robbins puts it really nicely when he says, it's not money we want, but the experiences we think it will give us. Yeah. So it's not really, I didn't really want um, necessarily to own a Porsche. I wanted the feeling of driving down Highway 1 with the top down in a Porsche. That was my bucket list dream, right? That's the experience I wanted. I didn't really want to own I didn't really want the metal and the rubber and all the components of it. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the experience of driving it, right? So that's really important, and it's important that we start doing our bucket list early on. I actually have a bucket list where I look at it every 3 months, and writing a book was on my bucket list, and we're going to work on developing a bucket list for you also, so that you can start crossing things off, because it's really great. And the fact is, we never really know when the last day of our life is, and that's why it's important that we start doing the things that we really want to do as quickly as possible. And once we're clear on what we want, it's a lot easier to achieve it. Okay, so that's one of the things we're going to talk about in the coaching session. Now, I'm not a hippie. Okay, I'm not like I'm not saying money is not important. I think money is really, really important, but it shouldn't be the end goal. Yeah, it shouldn't be the end goal. Shouldn't be let's try to make as much money as possible in our lifetime, because our life is better when we have the experiences that we want to have, and we grow in the way we want to grow, and we contribute in the ways we want to contribute. That's what we want. Yeah, that's probably what we want in life. This is not my philosophy. It's actually from Mindvalley, Vishen Lakhiani. He says, our life is built up of experiences, growth, and contribution. And there's a really nice meditation app for that. And I've been using it for a few years, and I really, really like how that works. So, niche equals rich. Now, what a lot of people try to do when they start a business, and because as entrepreneurs we are creatives, we want to be creative, and entrepreneurs are also very giving people, so we want to please people, we want to give them value, and a part of running a freedom business is actually not trying to please everyone. It is actually focusing on a certain amount of things that work, and then repeating that, and then giving those tasks to other people, right? So a very, very important part of running a freedom business is don't try to please everyone. If somebody comes into, if we get an email in the photography business about, can you photograph models in London in a sort of trendy environment? And it's like, no, we don't do that. We do 360 photography. That's it, right? So we don't try to please everyone. And in fact, the reason why most photographers don't have work is because they do everything. They'll be doing like real estate photography, and then the next day they'll be doing like fashion photography, and then maybe they'll be doing some video. And the reason why we've been successful in the 360 photography business is because, it's called USpin, right? It's called USpin. Used to be called 360, now it's called USpin, and it's very direct. We only talk to clients about 360 photography. Now that's covered, it's working. We actually branched out into video, but we only did that after we had succeeded in the 360 photography segment, and that market in Norway was saturated, right? That's when we said, video. But we only did that after we got that one thing right. Okay, so one lesson here is get the first thing working first, and then focus on building that up before you start doing another revenue stream. Okay, there's a really good book by Chris Anderson called The Long Tail, and it's all about niche markets. Okay, there's a global market now, and there's niches for everything. You can sell customized buttons and you can make a lot of money because it's a global market. And if you want to read more about niches and the theory of them, I suggest you pick up the Long Tail. You can listen to it on audio, in your car. I actually listen to audio a lot. I download these audio books, and I try to sort of fill up my traveling with education. I mentioned the traffic. Spending 2 hours every single day driving to your work is actually adding up to 1 month a year. So if you're in that situation right now, try to fill that time with listening to audio programs, because it's a really good way of making the most of that time. Maybe you do that already, I'm not sure. But I've been doing that for years now, and I just, then I don't really mind the traffic because I'm actually learning something at the same time. Of course, finding a friend is a good way to spend it too. Less is more. So it is important that we don't try to do too much. We do need to do one thing really, really well, and if we can become a specialist in that area, so that you can charge the most. So the best person in any industry can always charge the most. Now, if you try to be a jack of all trades, if you try to do all sorts of photography, then you're not going to be able to charge a high price because all your work will be mediocre. But if you try to do less and focus on that and be really good at it, then you will be able to charge a premium on your service. And it's also favorable in terms of being found on Google, right? Because then all your keywords will then be targeted towards 360 photography, 360 photography, 360 photography. Yeah. And then you get the kind of clients you want instead of getting other types of clients. Okay. I hope that makes sense. And it a part of this philosophy is actually being a bit lazy. Yeah. So you have to start off by thinking, you know, what is the minimum amount of work I can do to get the maximum result? Okay. And that philosophy will actually make you successful. Also, in terms of when you send an email, try to think about the questions that might be coming. Okay. So instead of just emailing backwards and forwards for ages, spend some time actually thinking about um, the long-term solution. So, ask the question, if then what will happen? So that you don't, because sometimes we end up emailing each other like all the time, backwards and forwards, and it's not productive. Especially if you're doing the one email a day, you need to think forward. So try to predict the questions that will be coming from your clients or from the person that you are collaborating with. Now, be a sharpshooter, okay? And doing less and focusing on a niche makes you a sharpshooter. A lot of people are going out there with, this is a bit dramatic, but with machine guns, trying to hit everything. Now, you need to focus in on that one thing and then be a sharpshooter, okay? Because then you can really focus on your target customer. Now, who is your target customer? Do you have a vision of that already? Because what we can do is we can create an avatar, and I want to do a group session on this right now. So if somebody knows their target customer, maybe you can put it into the chat box. Okay, you must be good. Okay, thank you. Does anybody have a target customer that they are currently selling to in their business? If you do have that, can you put it into the chat box or the question box, and we'll talk it through. Okay. Okay. So if nobody wants to be a case study for that, so an avatar is basically something you build up so that you can have it on your wall. Okay. Visible is actionable. Okay. So if you have something on your wall and you focus on that, then you'll be able to stay. Okay. Infertile couples. Okay. So what is the typical, what are the typical generics for an infertile couple? Um, what are their characteristics? Now they're probably in the age of, so they're in the age from 20 to 40. Is that right? Is that the right age group? And the next question is, what are the characteristics? So basically what you do is that you build up a list of who this person is. Yeah. So just take a piece of paper and write down what kind of people are, what characterizes them. They want kids. Is that correct? They really want kids. And okay, 30 to 45. Okay. So what else? What else is a characteristic for them? So you need to write down the avatar, okay, and then put a picture over your desk with the characteristics of your target customer, so that every day you focus on that and you try to think about things like they are desperate for kids. Okay, so what are their needs? What are their needs? They really want kids. They're hurting. They need support. Um, Highly motivated. Okay, so that's really good. If you have a highly motivated target customer, then that's brilliant. A hungry crowd for your services and your product. That's brilliant. Now, the next question you need to ask yourself is, where can you find them? What is the shortest way to finding them? And I find that that's often, who has your customer? Who has your customer already? So in terms of infertile couples, it's probably doctors. But what you'll struggle with there is the confidentiality, right? You'll struggle with, you can't go to a doctor and say, give me all your infertile couple list. But you could probably put up signs on the at the doctors that serve the client. So ask yourself the question: who has your customer? There are ways. There are ways of getting customers, and it is, you probably are familiar with this as you've been watching Stephen's webinars. But joint ventures. So what I'm going to be doing with the course, the Work Less Earn More course, is going and doing joint ventures with other information marketing experts. Right? They might be doing real estate, and I'll go, oh, we're really good at helping people automate and outsource their business. We help people start freedom businesses, liberate. We help liberate entrepreneurs. Now, I'll go to them and say, how can we make a revenue split on me teaching the course to your customers? I think it'll add a lot of value to them, and I'm always trying to find those kind of synergies. And within the photography industry, most photographers work by themselves. Okay, most of them just stick to themselves, and they're in their studio, and they're very scared of other photographers. So what I did was that I started networking with all different types of photographers, trying to become their friend, and I started talking to them about 360 photography. I didn't hold that idea for myself. I actually was very open and very giving, and we've even created a educational program called The Secrets of 360 Photography, which we sent out to photographers in Norway. Now, before, when I started out, I used to never do that because I would keep my secret for myself. But what I've found is that the more I share with others and the more I help others, the more comes back to us. And just the other week, somebody needed a transparent head. This is getting photo technical, but somebody needed a transparent head for photographing hats, and we've developed this special technique that shows the inside. And I just said, yeah, sure. We've got a full box of them. They're really difficult to buy, and I'm just going to give you one. And what happened after that is that they actually gave us a new customer because we helped them out. And I'm just such a favor. I'm always trying to create synergy with people, win-win situations. And that's the way to get into other people's lists, is by serving other people and by helping other people. They will want to help you back. It's called, I'm going to try to say this. This is a difficult word. Reciprocity. People who buy from you, if you do something nice for them first, they will feel compelled to give back to you. So basically, if you give, you get, right? And there's a really beautiful book called Dr. Robert Cialdini's 6 Principles of Ethical Persuasion, right? It's the book is called Influence, and it's a really good way of understanding how to create joint venture relationships with other people. So, who has your customers, right? It's possible to buy lists as well. In the UK, there's a company called Highlight, and you can actually ask them for a list of. So for this course, it would be entrepreneurs that are in their first to their fifth year of business, or small business owners, right? And I can buy a list, and then I can send out an email to them with an offer, right? That is one way of doing it. That's typically a more expensive way than doing joint ventures. Okay. Now, modeling. I mentioned this in the webinar, and I started a photography business in the UK before I started in Norway, and it was exactly the same kind of business. It was a 360 photography business. We grew really fast. We went from 2 employees and nothing to 9 employees in a year, and we had all the big brands, and the company blew up basically because we grew too fast. And I actually owned only 10% of that company, and my co-founder James, which we're still really good friends, we actually share an office here in London. um, he spent a lot of money that we shouldn't have been spending. I'm not shifting the blame on him, because I should have seen it, and I just trusted that we would survive. And you know, it's when you start seeing all these contracts come in. I'm going to mention this later, but yeah, getting prepaid is better than being paid after. So always try to get prepaid in your business. And we didn't do that. You know, we had companies where I was actually in charge of the finance of the company. So I didn't do prepayments. You know, I was more focused on getting the contracts, and we did get the contracts, but part of the agreement was that they paid 50 days later, and obviously our staff had to be paid every single month. So that actually made us run out of cash, and I decided to leave the company after 1 year because the way it was being run by us wasn't working out. Um, then I moved back to Norway, and I started the exact same kind of company, but I kept costs really low, and I learned from I learned from the mistakes, you know. So I spent that 1 year modeling a company, and then I started the exact same. So if you know what kind of business you want to start, then go work for a company that's doing what you want to do. Does that make sense? So if you want to start a company within food, or maybe a cafe or similar, go work for McDonald's. Actually, go work for McDonald's for 2 3 months. You don't have to keep on working there, but 2 3 months, and then focus on how they do everything. You know, appreciate the beauty of how they've built the system, and how they train their employees, and how their employees know exactly what to do. You know, a 16-year-old can run a McDonald's. A 16-year-old can run a McDonald's. Talk about leveraging other people's time and building a beautiful system. That is a beautiful way of doing it. So you can learn a lot from actually going in and working for somebody that's doing exactly what you want to start, because then you can learn from their mistakes, because it's likely they've made a lot of the mistakes from before. Okay. Now, with the 360 photography business, I knew that I should focus on the shoe industry, and the first client that we got was a shoe customer, and I could show to proof from the UK that it increased revenue for the online store, it reduced returns, people stayed on the website. I could show them all this proof plus reference to clients that we'd worked with in the UK, and that history made it really easy for me to launch that business and quickly generate revenue. And then I knew from experience that then it was the sports goods companies, and so by modeling, and I actually asked James before I started that. I said, James, is it okay if I start a similar company in Norway? And I promise you, we will not compete with you in the UK, but I hope we can have synergy through our work. And we're still friends, and we still work together, and we still learn and grow within the same industry. So you don't have to keep your idea or your company a secret. Sharing actually adds a lot of value to others, and they will give it back to you. Usually it takes a bit longer. First you give, and then it takes a while, and sometimes you get back, but it will come back to you. So experimenting. Okay, so when you're modeling in another company, it allows you the freedom to experiment, to learn everything they do, and also then go back and sort of say, oh, this is working well, and you can refine it. And one thing I want to mention is that there's a lot, in school we're taught to not copy, but in business that is good. You can call it modeling, because modeling is a more positive charged word, right? So modeling, and what's important there to remember is that you are you. So even though you model somebody else, you will do it in your unique way. It will always be your unique way. So the founder of Costa Coffee and the founder of Starbucks, it's the exact same business model, but they're different because the founders were different. They did it in their specific way. So don't be scared of modeling, because ultimately what you produce will be yours, because you will be working on it. It will be your work of art, so to speak. Does that make sense? And after you model and you refine, it's then a continuous process of tweaking your business, changing a few parts here and there, and exchanging things so that it works even better. So in the 360 business, I'm still just 1 second here. It's gonna keep on going off. That's my trusted jam box that I always bring when I'm traveling. I love that. Love that product. It also speaks to me when it's going out of battery. Beautiful. Now, keep calm and sharpen the saw. Sharpen the saw is from Stephen Covey, and it's all about refining what you have and consistently doing that, because then you'll make more and more money by doing less and less. Okay, that's by refining things you can work less and you can earn more on a consistent basis, as well as the things that you're doing will compound for you. So starting to think long term is actually going to make you a lot more money, because of the compound interest that the business will make you when you are refining. And this is typically called, working on your business, not in your business. And that's why we leverage other people's time. And that's why we're going to find you your first employee in the Philippines to start implementing things for you. And they can do the refining for you. It's all about finding talent to do that. Now, ideally, you are not you are the business owner and not the CEO. So you're actually detached from the pyramid of the workforce that you're employing, and your freedom actually lies in that kind of philosophy. So the first step is leverage other people's time, and that's really important, because that is the ticket to freedom, and you can have them implement systems for you. Okay. um, I'm not 100% sure where you are at this moment, and we're going to talk more about that in the coaching calls. Um, so, but we will find a way of you to start leveraging other people's time by doing this, because even though you go and work at McDonald's and model what they do, you can still have somebody start implementing things for you. Okay, don't worry. There's enough to do in the business, so don't worry about that. Two things to spend. I always choose to spend money, not my time. And the reason for that is because I want to be on path. I want to be living my purpose. And working with you guys is really what I have found to be what excites me. What I really want to spend my time on doing is working with entrepreneurs and helping entrepreneurs succeed. That's where I have my passion. Okay, because I went off track. I don't actually like photography. I just did it for the money, and it put me in a really bad place. And my lessons and my learnings from that is that I want to help other people get on track faster, so that they can live a life of freedom. Um, so I always choose to outsource things I don't like and spend money on it, and I don't really mind what it costs, because I want to spend my life living on path. I hope that makes sense, and that's why I'm so grateful for you being here today. Um, Moving on, systems. So after you have people and you've copied, you've modeled the systems of others, you refine them, and after that you sharpen the saw. Okay, that's a philosophy here. Okay, first you get other people, you build a system, you get them to run it, and then you make it more effective. And through that process, you will be making more and more money and having more and more freedom. So, freedom business blueprints. Now, I emailed all those out to you last week, and thanks to Ben, he said, "Oh, can you send the freedom business blueprints you showed in the webinar?" And I actually forgot to send those out, so I'm sorry about that. But you shall all have received them by now. If you want to read more about business model generation, there's a book. It's actually taken from a book called Business Model Generation: A Handbook for Visionaries, Game Changers, and Challengers. It's a Swedish guy and a French guy, I believe. And when I give talks at University of Oslo, this is what we work on with the entrepreneur class. We actually do the same kind of business model generation we do with the master's degree in entrepreneurs, and it's a really nice way of understanding what your business is going to do and how it's going to do it. And this is another sheet of paper that you should put next to your target audience, because then you have sort of all the mechanics that need to work, and then they're all going towards your target customer. I've chosen to just talk more about my 360 photography business, because it's an example of a sort of brick and mortar store. There's a lot of digital things you can do. So, for instance, with my app, the whole app software business, the app trend used to be usually is, so you get a spike and then it goes down and then it gets steady. It's very difficult to stay on top of the app market. Okay, so that's why I wanted to show you the brick and mortar store, because liberating yourself from a brick and mortar store is very possible, and it's it's just about trying to find the right solutions for you and being creative about it. And luckily we're going to be working on that together. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited about hearing about all your businesses and getting them systemized and outsourced. So in the 360 photography business, key partners. Okay, key partners for us, image editing services. The reason why we could start selling 360 photography was because I found a solution to do it. When I started out, I was doing all the image editing myself, and I had so much pain that I had to find another solution, which was then outsourcing to the Philippines. So I want to ask you a question here. Where do you have the pains in your business right now? Or where do you think you'll have all the pain in your business in the future? Because that's what you need to start outsourcing. Where your pain is what you should start outsourcing to somebody else. So make a list of your pains, and those are the things that we need to start focusing on when we work together. So image editing services, that was a massive pain for me, and it was also a very big cost. And luckily, I found Rimon in the Philippines, and we had a great working relationship. It was a win-win situation, and it worked out. So I actually own one of the key partners of the photo business, and that is why the licensing works so well also, because I licensed out all the contracts. So what would happen if he said, "Oh, Erland, I'm going to go somewhere else. Well, he would have to start the whole outsourcing business himself. He also gets sued, but that's another matter, because we have a licensing agreement, and it says if you start a similar type of business, I can sue you for $1 million. Okay, and I spent money. I spent about £2,000 on lawyers to write that licensing contract, because that was really, really, really important as part of the licensing deal. Don't save money on lawyers and accountants. Don't save money on lawyers and accountants, because they're very highly specialized industries, and they're also the backbone of your business. Okay, so don't say, I never save money on lawyers or accountants. It's not something I enjoy doing either, so it kind of fits into that category. Advertising companies that work with our clients. So who has our clients? Yeah, key partners. Who has our clients? Advertising companies. They're not specialists in 360 photography. So what I did early on was I talked to all the advertising companies that were working with the clients that I wanted. And advertising companies usually have those on their website as a sort of bragging right. They'll say, oh, we work with this company, we work with this company. So it was very easy to find the customers that the partners that I wanted to work with. Um, the printing industry. It was also quite easy to find. What I did was I found all the catalogs, and in some catalogs they had the printing company of who was printing their catalog. So I phoned them up and asked, we're doing this 360 photography stuff. Have you thought about it? Maybe some of your clients would be interested in it. And I started building relationships like that. E-commerce companies. 360 photography is very beneficial for online stores. So I went to the biggest e-commerce providers in Norway and said, we got this new technology. What do you think about it? It has these benefits. And they actually invited us to start giving talks on 360 photography at trade shows. And that's a really good way of getting clients, is by adding value to them first, right? So I explained the benefits of 360 photography. I showed them how to do it, and that's how we got a lot of clients at trade shows and just giving talks in the e-commerce industry. And the importance of we talked about the importance of creating a similar experience to going into an Apple store online, and people liked our talk, and they purchased from us because we were a specialist in our industry. We didn't try to focus on everything. We did 360 photography, experiences online, and that was it. And that made it really easy for people to remember and think about us. When somebody mentioned photography for e-commerce, they'd be like, oh yeah, there's this new cool company. They're doing 360. That's really cool. Let's talk to them. Another another key partner that we talked about, which also gave us customers, was the biggest camera equipment supplier in Norway. They had a list of photographers that they send out a newsletter to, and we bonded with them. I actually told them about the 360 photography industry and told them about all the suppliers of equipment, because the 360 industry wasn't so advanced in Norway compared to London. So I actually gave them the contact details of all the people producing 360 photography equipment, because I wasn't worried that I would destroy my market. I wasn't worried about other photographers also getting started with delivering that product. I was more interested in just making it happen for people and adding that value to the world. And that actually came back on me, and they started giving me customers. And I also, sent out, we also send out newsletters for image editing services in their newsletter, which also gives us new customers. So it's synergy is the big deal, and joint venture deals are beautiful. Now, royalty. I get paid royalty on the licensing. So when the photographer photographs for us and produces that, we get a percentage ticking in. Okay, that's key partners, and that's how I use that to get customers. Key activities, sales and marketing. Okay, that's how we did the sales and marketing. We tried some other things. We tried AdWords and things like that, but we found that just being really focused on our target customer, and going to the key partners is a beautiful way of selling and getting our company out there. Another key activity is the production, actually producing things, and the product logistics. Photography has a lot of things that can go wrong. So I spend a lot of time refining that system. So now that it works, I don't have to deal with it so much. Okay. Product logistics is basically the shipping and the sending of products. And you need to apply work less, earn more thinking in terms of that too. So you want to have your client deliver your products to you, and you want to have your clients pick them up. So what I did in the beginning was that I drove to the client and I picked up the products, and then I would also deliver them. Try to negotiate these things into your contract early on, so that you don't have to keep on doing all these little tasks. Because if you remember from the webinar, spending those 2 hours delivering products to clients is actually adding up to a month, a year that you could spend, networking, selling, and marketing, or not working at all, right? So remember to add up your hours and do it by year. Okay. Checking imagery is also a big thing. Um, Innovation, always coming to clients with new ideas. I'm not saying not try to please them, but finding solutions for them. Being proactive in terms of, we saw that this wasn't working. Would you like us to fix it for you? Being of service to them, and sticking, and not necessarily trying to get all the clients. Like, you don't need 100% of a market. In Norway we have about 40% of the customers. Okay, 40%, and we serve them really, really well, and we have the ones that are willing to pay premium. Because we're the specialists, people are willing to pay us the premium. Okay, so moving on to key resources. We need really good photographers that stick with us, because it is an advanced process. So the training is a big risk for us. So we try to find people that are that have a family, that are established, that are grounded and balanced, and that we know will stick with us for a long time, because training is a big cost in business. Another one is the low image editing cost. So by outsourcing to the Philippines, we can offer clients a service that very few other photographers in Norway can offer, because we have this team of image editing. We have an image editing team in the Philippines, and they can't match our costs. It's impossible for them to deliver 360 at the price and the quality that we can, because I own that part of the business model. Software sale, and then also sales and marketing. We actually have a team in Norway selling and marketing for us. I've actually outsourced that to another company. And again, it's about the deal. They get paid a revenue share of that business. Okay, so if we get a contract, they get 5% of the contract for a year, and it's an incentive for them to sell and market for us. Value propositions. Okay, so what is good with 360 photography? Well, it increases sales, it reduces returns, it keeps customer longer on the website, it increases the trust because people really understand the product, and it gives them more for the money. So basically, what we did was we went in and said, yeah, you're paying this for 2D photography, but we're going to give you this for 360. And you're going to get 2D and 360. So you have something for online and something for offline. And we gave them an irresistible offer. Just like I did with the webinar, an irresistible offer. I'm going to add massive, massive value. And that's a great way of getting customers. Okay. Quick turnaround time. Yeah, we're a team. Like, most photographers work alone. And one of the things that we talk to clients about is that, we're a team of photographers. So if somebody's ill, you will be getting your products delivered on time. So creating that trust with your client is important. Reliability. That's, again, because we're a team, we are more reliable, and we have the image editing team as well, which gives us a quicker turnaround time. And we're always working on improving through innovation, and also coming to our clients with new solutions. And high image quality. Is this okay? Is this okay? We're gonna go move on to one of your businesses, so we can talk about one of your businesses and put that business into this. I see we only have 10 minutes left, so I'm gonna speed up here, and then we're gonna do some questions and answers at the end. Hope that's okay. We try to work at their customer relationships. We try to work at their location, so we try to be around them. So our photographers are working in-house with the client to create that deep relationship. It's also a way for us to know what's going on. We do 2 improvement meetings, so we don't just leave them. We actually actively engage and suggest improvements and have that attitude. Because I'm all about keeping. It's much cheaper for you to keep customers than to get new ones. The big cost and a massive reason for how I've been living the 4-hour work week was because I built these relationships. I built these long-term relationships, and we've only lost about 10% of our clients in the past 6 years. So I think long-term with clients, and I focus on the clients that I want long-term, because that kind of relationship gives you recurring revenue. Okay. So we try to work at their location. Yeah. So we're always trying to add value. In terms of channels, what I love is getting referrals. And when you have that relationship with a customer, they actually give you referrals, and it happens all the time. And that gives you a highly motivated person that wants to buy, and they already trust you because they've been recommended by somebody else. So get referrals. Trade shows. We did the talks at the trade shows, and we also networked with the marketing directors at the trade shows, which are the people that make decisions. We attended the Business Network International, which is a business group for small businesses. If you haven't heard of it, it's a great thing to go to if you're starting out. Business Network International. We did cold calling. So basically the sales team does a lot of cold calling. And we do newsletters. So we do like summer, Christmas, Easter, and yeah, that's what we do. Halloween, I think. That's what we do. And we just send out like silly stuff that entertains them. And we send them funny gifts like scratch cards. Every Christmas, every single person that we work with gets a scratch card, and I say, hope you become a millionaire, and they like it. It's fun, it's exciting, and it's not expensive to buy, and it adds a lot of value to them, and they always bring it up when they see me. So customer segments, clothing related customers. As I mentioned before, I knew that people that had shoes that they wanted to sell online, they were a perfect focus point for when I launched the business, and we got those clients, and then we moved on to sports clothing, and we focus on volume. So one-off is typically an expensive way of so if you do custom designs, you're not going to really be able to free yourself from your business. So we only do volume stuff. We only do the work that's volume based. Focus on system building. Okay, cost structure. We focus on system building and training to minimize mistakes. So that's why, again, we spend a long time to hire, because we want the kind of person that's going to stick with us for years. We don't really want the person that wants to just get some experience and then move on. And you do that by really seeing what kind of person it is, by really listening and trying to ask the person, what do you really want out of life? And if they're a good person, they will tell you the honest truth. And if you can tell that they're lying, then don't employ them. We do revenue share, and we make sure this goes back to the shipment and the logistics of the products. Okay, make sure you get paid for the time you spend, and that needs to be put in a contract. And you need long-term contracts with your clients, and hopefully monthly contracts, so that every single month you have recurring revenue coming into your business. And when you have recurring revenue, it just makes you feel safer. There's risks in being an entrepreneur, and by having these long-term deals, it just makes your whole company safer, and it gives you more freedom as well. And it also is predictable in terms of when you have other people do things for you, you know that everything's working. Revenue streams, okay? Get recurring revenue from the same clients. We have more or less the same clients buying every single month, which is simple. It's simple because we only need to maintain a few people, okay? Lock them into long-term contracts and make sure that you get paid for your time if it's very time intensive, okay? Or you do per product, but try to lock them into long-term contracts. Try to sell them software, okay? Is there anything you can upsell or downsell to them as part of this deal? So we sell image, 360 software, image hosting software, and it's recurring revenue because they pay every month for that. And because we do their photography as well, they're sort of locked into that whole contract. Get them to prepay you or pay you a retainer. So get them to pay you before you start the work. First get the contract, then get paid, then do the work. Okay? So prepay. Get people to prepay you. And if you ask for it, it's much more likely that you'll get it than if you don't ask for it. So try to ask to get prepaid. But try to pay your suppliers later. So you want to get prepaid, so you get cash in, and you want to pay people as late as possible. And what's happened with my first go at 360 photography was that we got paid later and we had to prepay. So that's the opposite way of doing cash flow. Does that make sense? So we didn't have money to pay employees, and that's one of the reasons why I left. Is because I got stressed out about it because we didn't manage the cash flow well. Be the best in your niche, okay? Specialize in your niche, and the way to find your niche is to find out who you really are and what you really want to do, and that's why we do the first coaching call. We were going to do one of your businesses here today, but you are getting your business model blueprint, and we only have 3 minutes left for questions now. But today we talked about, start with the end. Try to find out what your number is. What is the number? What's the amount of money that will make you happy in life? Niche equals rich. Try to get clear on what your niche is and what part of business you really want to make money. And the more clear you can get on that, the more freedom and money you will make. Get clear on who your specific target customer is and create an avatar that you place over your desk so that every single day you see it and you get clear that this is the type of person you're serving, and that's a good way of not trying to please everybody else. Modeling. If you don't have a business, or if you have a business, go in and work for somebody that's doing what you want to do better than you are currently doing, and try to learn everything you can from that. And make sure you don't steal, okay? Modeling is not stealing. It's just looking at how they do it. I used to do that when I played tennis, okay? I played tennis and I copied Agassi. I would watch him on TV and I would visualize and try to do the same. But eventually it ended up being my swing, right? Understanding blueprints, okay? Try to create your blueprint based on the format from the business model canvas. It's a really nice way of getting clear on the kind of things that you need to be doing in your business, and put that next to your avatar so that you know what you need to do to get your customers to get paid. And in there lies your freedom business, okay? In there lies your liberation, and it's not really doing more, it's actually doing less. Most people try to do a lot of things. Most people are confused, but what we're going to do is we're going to get you clear and get you focused, and start building your freedom business. Or if you have a business, we're going to we're going to cut the crap and get clear on what you really want to do. So that was the freedom business webinar session. If you have any questions, please just drop them into the questions box, and we'll do some Q&A. Maybe there's some questions about the coaching times. I'm in London, and typically what I've done before is that I've only done Tuesdays. So what I've decided, because of the the time difference. We're also going to do Wednesdays so that we can really get you started on everything. Was that helpful, guys? Was that did you get anything out of that? Did you have a pen and paper and write some stuff down? This is sort of a preview webinar before we really get stuck in and focus on your business specifically. And I just want to say I'm really grateful to be working with you, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make your business and your freedom business happen for you. And there, it's really good that we have these 6 sessions, because then it is, in my experience, with programs, it is the sort of one-on-one stuff that really makes the difference. When we do webinars like this, it becomes generic. It's good content, but it becomes more generic because we're not really diving into your specific business, and everybody on this call has different dreams and different different agenda. And it's when we sit one on one and really get to know each other that we can make all the difference. So just send your time schedule to Regina. You can put in various times that you can do: Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm in London, so it's London time. I do fly around quite a bit, so I might be somewhere else. But Regina has the overview of that, and she's in charge of managing my schedule. So her email is regina@mroutsource.com. If there's no more questions, I just also want to thank you for just being here today. You showed up, and just shows you're going to succeed at this. Okay, we're gonna make this happen. All right. Thank you for attending. I'm going to end the webinar now. It's been great talking to you. Okay. Bye bye, everybody. Bye bye.